now people are driving a lot of content online. Okay, so if you find, of course, you find where you feel your personality fits well. People are writing content online and driving, influenced by writing on LinkedIn. Yes, Mebra, where are you?
Yes, Lillian, I'm on Facebook and Twitter.
LinkedIn?
Now,
LinkedIn, I usually say every professional accountant, you have to have that one like as a must, because that's where you have your CV, that's where you have your professional CV, and that's where you have all your professional self. Facebook is a bit like more on the social side. It's more of like the fun side of you, but you can still write, because I post the same things still on Facebook, and I get different types of clients there. And Twitter, of course, are for the short things, but also driving agendas there. Yes, Jennifer, you raised your hand.
Yes, I just wanted, you did mention that you do blogs. I wondered how this fits into this whole media presence, digital presence, and whether you think it's worth pursuing and how. I hope it's relevant to this session.
Yes, that if I do blogs and whether it's doing what? Sorry, come again.
You said you do blogs. Yeah, you do blogs. And I was just wondering whether you find what drove you to do that, and whether it is relevant as an accountant to do something similar, or is it more something you do out of, it's not professional kind of pursuits, but just something you like to do. I don't know if I'm making myself clear.
Yes.
It's relevant, in other words.
Yes, it is. See, the beauty with a blog, you choose what you want to blog about. And I know there are people who actually just blog about finance, and that's what they will say to blog about. There are people who just blog about accounting. There are people who just blog about investment. So you can choose your career, your area of expertise that you want to blog in. For myself, how I entered into blogging, it was funny how I entered into blogging, but it was out of out of boredom. One of the places that I was working at TradeLinks, I had a lot of free time because I used to go and interact with clients. So I had clients to see Tuesdays to Fridays. I will actually be at the client site, mentoring clients, working with the accountants of the clients. But Mondays used to be our planning days. And of course, being a planning day, you only do a bit of planning and the rest of the day is free. And I was not involved in any administrative work. And what I discovered is that I had a lot of free time of doing nothing, sort of. And for me, one of my challenges is I don't know how to sit doing nothing. And at that time is when I started writing. And initially, maybe just to give you a background to how I started blogging, I started blogging about my gardening hobby. Why did I do that? Is because one of the writers, one of the days when I was bored at work, I was going through the newspaper and I saw this lady who had been featured for doing container gardening. And I got curious because that's the area of my passion. And the long and the short, getting in contact, I wrote monitor, trying to get in contact with the editor, to get in contact with the person. And that whole thing led the author of that article to come home and start writing about my garden. And I realized she did like 10 different articles for 10 consecutive Wednesdays. The first one was a center spread of the monitor about my garden. And that's when I realized, this person has got a story out of my home which I'd never thought of. I'd never seen the story myself. But she had a full center spread story about my small garden. And the next 9 consecutive Wednesdays, she was writing every Wednesday. And then I'm like, you know what? I can also write my story instead of someone writing the story for me. And so I went online and said how to set up a blog. So I Googled how to set up a blog. And I started finding out how to do it. And of course, when I was setting up that blog, I was setting up to blog about write about the plants and post the pictures of the plants. But then I realized, I have passion for accounting. I like training about accounting, talking about accounting. And so I called the blog The Accounting Gardener, like the accountant, the profession, but the gardening passion. And so initially it was to blog about gardening, But then later on, I realized from these business owners that I was meeting to mentor them to set up their systems, they were seemingly having similar challenges. And so I said, you know what, I can actually start writing about the challenges these small businesses are having that will help another business owner to improve. Instead of me having another 2-hour session with another business owner, if they're online, they can read about some of the challenges they can be having and how to go about solving them. And so on my blog, the accounting gardener blog, I will write about, how to improve on your business. But then later on, I realized that I'll get better audience on Facebook. And so I started writing still about the businesses on Facebook. And that's when I set up the Accountancy and Business Clinic page on Facebook. And I have people following there, just, talking about business. So yes, Jennifer, so you can choose to blog professionally, or you can choose like I do. So I have 2 blogs. I have the blog, the general blog with the blogger, but I have now the micro blogs that I have within Facebook. So within Facebook, I have the blog that focuses on Accountancy and Business Clinic. So people who are just interested in Accountancy and Business Clinic will just go there. And then of course I have the blog that talks about the flower. So I have the page for the more and more, but also have my personal page that now brings all those things together. So if you go to my timeline, you're going to find both. You just go through that and you have a sense that this person likes flowers and also likes talking about finance and business. So you can set up a blog, and also the beauty with setting up a blog that you have a voice to, you can actually make money out of that blog. And that's another topic, that's a different course altogether, which we have in the Journey to Financial Freedom. Hope I've answered you. So one of the other conscience that we needs to have as indispensable accountants is the emotional conscience. Now, this is the ability to identify your own emotions and those of others and harness and apply them to the task that you have to do. Having managed many accountants, at the time I was managing about 13. I think the biggest team that I managed in an accounting department was 13. And how we were structured was that, so there were other people who were in groups and managing themselves. And what I realized that as much as most of the accountants had the technical competence to do their work, but those who had the most challenges were the ones that had no emotional intelligence. What I mean by emotional intelligence, like how you communicate, what you need to communicate to your subordinates, how you interact with your colleagues, how you interact with your customers, how you can interact with your supervisors. Are you that person who is just always on the edge and everyone wants to flee from you? So they say sometimes accountants, we rub people the wrong way, but still we can communicate nicely, kindly, without being mean and, and arrogant, which they say most accountants are. So how then do you handle, especially your subordinates and the people that are below you? How do you manage them?